And our first main topic today gets submitted to us by Andrew. And Andrew writes, did you see that Dune is officially getting a theatrical-only release instead of going to HBO Max on the same day? Why did Warner Brothers finally give in? And do you think this will better our chances of director Denis Villeneuve coming back for a part 2? All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And yeah, some really interesting stuff started floating around the web yesterday when I believe it was Deadline who buried in a story. It wasn't the headline. It was just buried in like paragraph 4 of the story. But they basically came right out and said in this Deadline report that essentially this: Warner Brothers is going to debut Dune at the Venice Film Festival, and then it will have a theatrical exclusive run for 45 days before going to Warner Brothers. So a lot of the talk and chatter started going around online that Warner Brothers, and by the way, Rob, you and I both predicted that we think Dune is going to go straight to an exclusive theatrical run. So that started running around. However, a little bit later in the evening last night, there was some pushback on this. This comes to us from the folks over at IGN who write, however, in the midst of all these reports that we were going to get Dune going to an exclusive theatrical window, Warner Media's head of communications, Joanna Fuentes, quickly took to Twitter to shoot down the reports. Dune, she says, will premiere in theaters and on HBO Max on the same day in the US. So in the midst of all these reports running around, Dune, somebody from Warner Media comes out and says Dune will premiere in theaters and on HBO Max at the same day in the US. So essentially, Rob, they're saying no, it's as it's always going to be. Dune is still going to come out in theaters and on HBO Max on the same day. So that was disheartening to hear last night. I mean, that was disheartening to hear because I think Dune is definitely a movie that should be getting an exclusive theatrical window. It's the only, like Denis Villeneuve said himself, it's the only way we can possibly generate enough revenue to justify us being able to do Dune 2. And, he basically called out Warner Brothers for the whole thing, for sabotaging him and for sabotaging the movie. So a lot of us thought, well, especially with Legendary's pressure, wonder if they will get that theatrical release. And I said over 50%. Over 50%. I think we're going to see that. Reports come out from Deadline. Now, Rob, here's the interesting thing. When I heard the response from, the rep from Warner Media, I immediately thought that's strange because Deadline is not Gus's gas station reviews.fart. Deadline doesn't run with stuff, generally speaking, unless they're pretty solid on it. So I made a call last night to somebody who wasn't able to give me any sort of definitive answers and just said this: things are still in the air. That's the only response I got, was that things are still in the air. What that tells me is that Deadline did catch wind of something, and it may still be something that happens. Maybe yes, maybe no. But for now, the official word is, despite all the things that we saw running around, as of right this moment, the official word is still that Dune is getting theatrical and HBO Max on the same day, which is, like everything else Warner Brothers has done with this whole thing, a bloody, stupid mistake on their part. But I am still hearing that it could very well switch over to theatrical exclusive. But for now, the official word is it's going to do both. Rob, you saw both sets of these reports. What was your thought process when you saw the first report? And then what was your thought process when you saw the contrary report come out a little bit later? How did you see this?
Well, I mean, the proof is really in the pudding. I look at what happened with Godzilla versus Kong. Theatrically, it's done quite well. And that's even before a lot of restrictions had lifted, even here in the States. And to leave that money, obviously, and that worked with both a theatrical and a day and date release window on HBO Max. But with the way things are going, with the way things are opening up and things are sort of slowly getting back to normal, I mean, Dune is a prestige event. It doesn't get any better. It doesn't get any bigger in terms of for me, Dune is not some mindless action film. This is an important movie. It's based on one of the most beloved pieces of science fiction literature ever written. It has a cast that's beyond A-list. I mean, in terms collectively, it's got to win that SAG award for best ensemble, I would imagine. And I can't imagine with somebody like Denis Villeneuve, in our day and age, John, I can't imagine a bigger and more prestigious studio release in this day and age. And why not make it that? And the fact is, they want to make 2 more movies about the Paul Atreides story and make the Bene Gesserit Sisterhood TV show. Why not make it something that's special? And I just think if they're not, they're leaving money on the table.
Yeah, I agree. And here's hoping that at some point, it sounds like it is something they're still considering. Fingers crossed they come to their senses and make the right decision. By the way, Michael Nardelli sends in like a $50 super chat badge in the live chat stream there. Thank you, Michael, so much for supporting the channel on that level, man. We really appreciate that. This is very generous of you. All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this right now? There was a lot of happiness going around yesterday when we heard that Dune was going to get an exclusive theatrical run the way that movie deserves. However, then came the contrary information saying, no, it's not. Still hearing like it's a possibility. I don't know. What do you think, guys, is ultimately going to happen? Don't tell me what you hope happens either way. What do you guys think will happen? Jump on down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys.